Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and I figured it was a good time to start investigating some lower cost 4K displays, and we got in this one the other day from Dell. This is their S2817Q, and it is a 3840 by 2160 display, 28 inches from one edge to the other, so a nice big display. It doesn't cost all that much comparatively. It's about $420 right now on Amazon. Now I do want to mention, in the interest of full disclosure, this came in free of charge through the Amazon Vine program. However, nobody is paying for this review. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own, and nobody is reviewing this content before it is posted. So this is a matte finish display, so it's not too shiny. The bezel is a lot shinier, as you can see, than the display is itself. Now, the display technology here is something called a TN display, and this is something we typically see on lower cost monitors on the 1080p side of things, and they're also, of course, going to work fine at 4K resolution also. The problem that you're going to run into with this, though, is that you lose some consistency in the brightness of the image. So right now I've got this dark green desktop pattern on my display at the moment, and a fly coming on by there. And it looks a little bit darker to my eyes towards the top, and I'm hoping this shows up on camera also, than it does at the bottom. The bottom looks lighter than the top does, and that's because the viewing angles on these TN displays are not as consistent as you might get on a IPS display. Those will cost a lot more, but for about the price of this $420 4K monitor, you can often get an IPS display at 1080p and get better viewing angles and a more consistent image. So these are one of the trade-offs you're going to have in getting that bigger, greater resolution, is you're going to lose a little bit of consistency with the image. So therefore, I would not recommend this for photographers and others who really need that consistency, especially when you're trying to make decisions as to how things look. But it is very sharp, and I wish there was a way to convey it on camera. I'm going to try to take a picture of the screen just to give you an idea of how sharp it really is. I was very pleased with how sharp the images look, but again, you're going to have this inconsistency just based on the viewing angle issue. And because it's such a big display at 28 inches, it's really hard to get it positioned in such a way that you can really get the entire display in your field of vision perfect. So I think that's going to be the one issue that will jump out at you. So if you're really sensitive to this kind of thing, like this difference in brightness, this is not going to be your display. But if you want something sharp and aren't too concerned about that, then this might be worth looking at. It does have a good contrast ratio, 1,000 to 1, so it's in line with what we've seen with other mid and low range displays. 2 millisecond response time, though, which is very good, so that will be great for gamers and for movie watchers too. One thing, though, for the gamers is that you want to make sure that you're running this at the resolution that's appropriate for your hardware. So if you are playing anything like in the mid to low end of the gaming spectrum, most computers can't really support gaming at this resolution, so you want to turn those games down to 1080p or less. I did find some issues with that. I was playing Star Wars Battlefront earlier at 1080p, and every time I died and I went back to the little menu, the monitor would flick off and flick back on again. It was like rescaling itself to get everything back up. The scaler on here isn't great either, so text at 1080p just doesn't look as sharp, of course, as it does at 4K. So there are a couple of trade-offs to be made here. There are some picture-in-picture capabilities on this display, but they're kind of hard to get at. So you have to go into the on-screen display here and kind of navigate through the menu to get there. You can turn it on, but it's really hard to do spontaneously. So you got to turn this on. You have an option to do a picture-in-picture kind of thing where you have the main display and the secondary one in a window there. You can also have it go 2 up as well, so you can have 2 displays side by side. Unfortunately, it's only 2 because you really could theoretically fit 4 1080p displays on here, all scaled the right way, but this one only supports 2 at once side by side, or 1 full screen with 1 in a window here. And you can adjust them around, but you then have to go through the menus to do it, so you can't just kind of grab it and move it around the way you want. So it works, but it's just not the most convenient thing you might find out there. There are speakers built in. They're not the loudest things in the world. They're also not the best speakers in the world either, but they're good enough for getting by with basic audio if you don't want to use separate speakers. There is an audio output also, so you can run your HDMI or DisplayPort cable out from your computer into here and then run the audio analog out to speakers if you wish, if you want some better audio quality. There are 4 ports on board. You have 2 HDMI, a full-size DisplayPort, and a mini DisplayPort. There's also a USB 3.0 hub built in also, so you can run a USB 3 cable to your computer, and I believe you pick up 2 or 3 downstream ports on here so you can plug in different peripherals and other things. Last thing is the stand. It's not bad. It's not as good as some of the other Dell stands we've seen. There isn't a lot of adjustability, so you can adjust the angle here, but that's it. You can't make it go up and down like that other Dell 1080p display we looked at earlier, but you should be able to find a pretty comfortable viewing viewing angle here. It does seem to sit pretty sturdily on the desk, which isn't bad for a low-end monitor, so that is a good thing there. So the big question is this the right monitor for you? Well, I think if you're looking for a monitor for basic stuff like web browsing and doing some movies and maybe some games and whatnot, probably would be okay for that. I did, again, experience some issues running games at 1080p as I was switching around to different menus. But again, I wouldn't recommend it for creative professionals. And I think if $400 or $500 is your budget, you might want to look at a 1080p display over one of these 4K displays. You'll lose a little bit of graphical clarity on the text if you're doing a lot of reading and writing on screen, but you will pick up better image consistency. You can probably get an IPS panel that will look nicer for the same money or less at the lower resolution. And I think where we are at this point in 2016, I think most people will do better in the mid to low end of the computing world right now with a 1080p display than they will with a 4K display. If you are in the market for a 4K display, this one isn't bad again from a sharpness perspective, but I would really look at something a little bit more expensive that'll give you a little bit better consistency on the image and maybe a little bit better compatibility on gaming, especially when you're switching back and forth from 1080p. This is Lon.TV, and thanks for watching. This channel is brought to you by my Patreon supporters. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.